to the class of 2025 commencement. We are so glad to be together on this beautiful and special day to celebrate a very special class. Would you please rise, and students please remain rising, for the invocation by Reverend Mark Lingle and for the national anthem sung by the King Chamber Choir.
Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Blessed are you, O Lord God, creator of the universe. We give thanks for the gift of this day and the beauty of the creation that surrounds us. We are mindful of the wonder of being and the serendipity of this moment. We gather to celebrate the intellectual, artistic, athletic, service, and community interests and accomplishments of the class of 2025. Thank you for the love and support of parents, siblings, friends, grandparents, faculty, coaches, board members, mentors, volunteers, and staff who have had their hand in preparing these graduates to grow and to flourish in an ever-changing world. As the class of 2025 commence with the next chapter of their lives, may they value intellectual curiosity as well as empathy. May they seek peace with justice. May they honor the spark of the divine in the other as well as recognize it within themselves. May they understand their part in caring for this creation, our island home. And may they live more fully into who it is they are to be and share that gift for the enrichment of our common humanity. Strengthen them to draw often on the virtues of perseverance, kindness, respect, and integrity, as well as their creativity, sense of humor, and resiliency as they make their way in the world. May they always be mindful of their connection one to another and with this world. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good evening, graduates, families, faculty, and friends. Today we gather to celebrate the class of 2025, a class that has not only helped to shape King's School, but has reached far beyond its walls with compassion, courage, and a deep sense of purpose. This class has been defined by its commitment to service, its genuine care for others, and the strength of its community. You've left your mark on King, yes, but more importantly, you've impacted the world around you. Whether organizing service projects, mentoring younger students, or standing up for causes that matter, You have shown us what it means to lead with heart. You've lived our mission through action steadily and with humility. You've made the world around you better. What is equally powerful is how you've done it together. You are a deeply connected class, which was reflected once again at prom this week. You've built friendships across different circles, supported one another through challenges, and created a community rooted in mutual respect and deep understanding. In a world that can so often feel divided, you've shown us a better way. Now, some of you have been with us for a few years, and others have been here since pre-K. Regardless of how long you've been a King, you are Vikings, and this is your home. I do, however, want to recognize our lifers, those of you who have called King home from the time you were in pre-K, kindergarten, or first grade. I'm sure you have fond memories of your days in the lower school and of your teachers who most likely taught you some of the most important lessons. Thank you for dedicating the longest part of your life so far to King. Please stand and remain standing as I read your names. And it's fine to do the King clap here, I think. Grace Anderson, Taylor Ansell, Connor Brown, Jopel Dohill, Alex Esposito, Felicity Gowdy, Devin Lennis, Vivi Mansfield, Charlie Matson, Harrison Merkin, and Liam Pufko. Thank you. Class of 2025, your time at King has not been without heartbreak. The loss of your beloved teacher and mentor, Mr. Adam Boaz, was felt across our school. Many of you were taught by him, advised by him, and inspired by him. In the weeks and months following his passing, you leaned into one another. You mourned together, you remembered together. And perhaps most significantly, you learned together what it means to live a life of gratitude. What he taught you lives on in your resilience, in your gratitude, and in the way you came together to support one another after his passing. You honored his legacy, not only in word but in action, and you reminded us all that even in sorrow, there is strength. We have been so proud of you. This year's school-wide theme, Making Connections, was a promise, and you kept it. You have built connections across ideas, differences, and communities. You listened, learned, and led with empathy. In you, we see the very best of King. As we look around at a world filled with uncertainty, you know what is certain. You know that relationships matter. You know that the power of understanding people who are different from you. You know that taking care of others is essential. You know that words can lift people up or bring them down, and that choice is always ours. And you know that the King virtues, integrity, respect, perseverance, and kindness are the compass that will guide you wherever life takes you. We also pause today to thank the people who helped make this moment possible. To the faculty and staff, thank you for your unwavering dedication, your belief in each student's potential, and the love you pour into your work every day. You have shaped minds and hearts. Would everyone please join me in thanking our faculty and staff? To the parents and families, thank you for trusting us, for partnering with us, and for cheering from the sidelines, in the car lines, and in the quiet moments at home when encouragement was most needed. Your support has made all the difference. To the class of 2025, you are remarkable, and you are ready. You are prepared not just academically, but as thoughtful, capable, compassionate human beings. And no matter how far you go, remember this: King is your home. We will always be proud of you. We will always cheer you on, and we will always welcome you back. As you go forward, remember the lessons you've learned here, and carry with you Mr. Boaz's perspective of cherishing all that we get to do rather than all we have to do. You get to graduate. You get to go to college. And beyond college, you get to step into a world that needs your voice, your kindness, your integrity. You get to build a life of meaning. You get to make choices that are guided by values. You get to show up for others. You get to become the kind of friend, colleague, and leader and citizen of the world that we so urgently need. You get to reach for the stars. Mr. Boas lived by that philosophy, and now so do you. So as you walk across the stage today, know this: you are ready, you have the tools, you have the heart, and you have each other. Congratulations, class of 2025. We are so very proud of you. I'd now like to welcome Meeson Freeman, Chair of the Board of Trustees, to the podium to say a few words to the graduates.
Thank you, Carol. Good afternoon, everyone. To our graduating seniors, to the faculty and staff, to proud families and friends, it's a privilege to stand before you today, not only as King's Board Chair, but also as a current parent, and a parent of a proud King alumna now thriving at NYU. I know what it feels like to be sitting there, filled with pride, accomplishment, and awe of who your children have become, but also with apprehension that comes when we see our children take flight. I assure you, they are ready and equipped to navigate what comes next. My daughter, Emmy, is pursuing global studies, immersing herself in the complexities of international relations and engaging deeply with other cultures. Her academic path, her worldview, her curiosity, her readiness for college, they were all shaped here at King. And today, I look at this graduating class and know the same is true for each of you. And the same will be true for my son, Paxton, when he wears his cap and gown in a few years. Class of 2025, this year you have faced a world in flux with courage, compassion, and clarity. You've navigated a school year during a national election with all the tensions, opinions, and noise that come with it. But at King, we witnessed something extraordinary. We saw civil discourse, real listening, conversations that didn't aim to win, but to understand. In classrooms, clubs, and community gatherings, you demonstrated the kind of maturity and respect that we urgently need in the world beyond our campus. You've also stood at the forefront of emerging technologies. Artificial intelligence isn't just something you've read about, it's something you've used with thoughtfulness, with responsibility, and with integrity. You've asked hard questions. You've explored its possibilities and its limits. And you've done so with the ethical framework that King strives to instill. That ability to use technology wisely will serve you not only in college, but in the careers and causes that await you. You've lit up our stage with powerful performances, filled our galleries with thought-provoking art, brought music to life in concerts that moved us, powered our innovation lab with ingenuity, left your hearts out on the field and courts, presented high-level research with professionalism beyond your years, and served your communities with compassion and commitment. You've brought both creativity and discipline to everything you've done, and shown us what it means to think deeply, express boldly, and serve selflessly. This moment in time pressures you to be connected, but King has taught you what it means to truly connect, not through technology, but through empathy, understanding, and bridge building. Those connections will serve you well as you navigate relationships in life, both personally and professionally. This has also been a class marked by deep sadness. We lost Mr. Adam Boas, beloved teacher, mentor, colleague, and friend. Mr. Boas saw in each of you potential and encouraged you with his boundless energy and wisdom. His legacy lives on in your writing, your thinking, your kindness, and your courage. Today we honor him. We carry him with us. I know he'd be immensely proud. To our faculty and staff, thank you. You've challenged these students and supported them. You've asked them to look inward and to look outward. You've helped shape not just scholars, but citizens. To our parents, congratulations. You've raised young adults who are ready not just to take on the world, but to contribute to it meaningfully. And to our graduates, you're ready. You are prepared not only for the rigors of college academics, but also for the conversations, the relationships, the ethical challenges, and the joys and hurdles of life that lie ahead. Just as so many King alumni have gone on to do remarkable things, you too will carry this place with you, and you will be better for it. I hope you know that King is more than a school, it's community. And when the world feels uncertain, this community reminds us what matters most: empathy, integrity, and human connection. Hold on to that. Carry it with you. Congratulations, class of 2025. We are so proud of you. Go forward with confidence, stay curious, stay kind, and stay connected. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to introduce to you the valedictorian for the great class of 2025. This year's valedictorian will graduate today having taken the most rigorous coursework possible at King, including 13 advanced placement and advanced seminar courses, and his transcript shows only A's as far as the eye can see. During his high school years, his teachers have commented across the board on his academic prowess, specifically his mastery of challenging material, his intellectual curiosity, his ability to approach content in all of our core area subjects, including computer science, with sophistication and with nuance. Given the fact that he is this year's valedictorian, we should not be particularly surprised by the points I just made. But what's really impressive to Kieran Rao's teachers, advisors, coaches, peers, and to me is his deep commitment to steady, understated, but fierce leadership here at King. Leadership that arose from determination to make a positive impact in his community as early as his 5th grade year. As his college counselor, Jessica Landis, explains, a pivotal turning point in his life came in 5th grade when he saw a documentary about climate change. As someone who loves the great outdoors, the threat felt immediately real to him, and he felt called to understand as much as he could about the environment and its preservation. By the time he was in high school, Kieran began pursuing independent research, exploring the intersection of additive manufacturing and biodegradable materials and their potential use in sustainable architecture, as well as arming himself with related skills in science, computer science, robotics, and of course, the humanities. But Kieran didn't just want to understand. He wanted to impact his community with his understanding. And that desire for impact is what led him to my office one day at the beginning of his junior year, and what led me to pay close attention for the next 2 years to the choices this young man would make. When Kieran arrived in my office, I knew he'd be presenting a proposal to engage the whole community in an environmental awareness activity of some sort, but I had no idea how deep and how broad his approach would be. Indeed, the two of us ended up talking at length about how independent schools function, the role of the board of trustees, the role of different administrative offices, the role of the head of school and different committees when an organization like King's makes decisions about sustainability. After all, it takes a lot of time to make decisions in any organization that are thoughtful when we think about purchasing, financing, building, and strategic planning. Kieran left my office with a plan to revise his proposal, and I was left amazed by this young person's incredible vision and equally impressive sense of how all the details played into a bigger vision. As Dr. Block put it, Kieran's arguments never lose the forest for the trees, even as he engages in detail with specific evidence. Maybe that's at the core of how we've all experienced Kieran. He's a visionary person and a detailed person. Indeed, Kieran's commitment to local, national, and global environmental challenges was matched by his commitment to his own much smaller community here at King. For instance, Through his role on our school's peer review, he was able to guide and lead by example, and the younger students looked up to him. Mr. Coulomb and I often asked Kieran to join us when we met with ninth graders who struggled with certain aspects of our community virtues, and the students listened carefully to him with respect. Frankly, we all listen to Kieran with respect. If you've met him, you've experienced this kind of authentic gravitas that he has. People take him seriously because he takes his commitments seriously and brings a deep sense of responsibility to everything he does. He doesn't take on a role to make a checklist. He takes on a role, like, for example, being president of the student body, captain of the boys' soccer team, leader of the AAPI affinity group, or leader of a student group on artificial intelligence and academic integrity. He doesn't take on these roles just to take them on. He takes them on because he feels called to do these things, to hold himself accountable to his high ideals, and to engage fully within his community. As Ms. Landis summarizes, his sense of responsibility to his school, to his community, to the planet as a whole is a defining characteristic of this young man. We cannot imagine a future in which Kieran isn't serving the common good and seeking opportunities to impact our world at both the level of intricate detail and soaring vision. After King, Kieran will be embarking on a gap year before attending Carnegie Mellon University, where he will study mechanical engineering. We know that in the future, he will be leading the charge to solve some of the world's biggest problems. We could not be more proud of him. Parents, guests, faculty, alumni, trustees, members of the class of 2025, please welcome this year's valedictorian, Kieran Rao, to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start by welcoming all the faculty, staff, parents, grandparents, siblings, and friends that are here today. On behalf of the entire class of 2025, we are so grateful that you've come here to celebrate with us. I'd like to start this speech by telling you how I started every day of my senior year. As my alarm rings, I open my eyes and I look to the ceiling. On the ceiling, I see a little note card that I've taped up there. The note card reads, "Don't half-heart it." Of course, like most seniors, before I could even process this message, I already smashed the snooze button and dove back under the covers. But when the alarm rings again 10 minutes later, I see the same note, and I actually understand it now. I came across this simple phrase back in August, just as I was reflecting on what I wanted my senior year at King to look like. It struck me as the mindset I needed. If this was going to be my last year living at home, walking these halls, and sharing moments with my classmates and teachers, I wanted to live it with my whole heart. I now realize that this note was asking me to bring intention to every day. And I would like to take a moment to differentiate effort from intention. Effort is about output and what you give to something, but intention is about orientation and aligning what you are doing with why you are doing it. Effort without intention is just motion, because intention is what gives effort its meaning. Intention is a promise that we can make to ourselves every single day. It is a commitment to staying present and to showing up fully, even when distraction is right there. To me, that meant saying hello to everyone in the hallway when I might have felt awkward or shy. It meant investing in relationships with my teachers, knowing I only have 1 year left with them. And it meant showing up to athletic events to support our teams. The act of waking up and choosing to care again and again when you'd much rather hit snooze, that to me is the essence of not half-hearting our experiences in life. And to be honest, I probably fell short of my ambitious goal to live with intention every day. There were plenty of times where I missed advisory because I overslept, I did not say hello to a teacher, or let my mind wander far too often in a certain class. I needed time to coast, and the 8 hours of sleep we get, or most of us haven't gotten a lot less than that in the last 4 years, was just not enough. It was in these moments, in recognizing where I fell short of my goal, that I learned 2 important truths. 1, intention can be exhausting, and 2, living with intention becomes a lot more natural when we're doing what we love. Think about it. We've learned these lessons together during our time at King in many different ways. The athletes among us have learned it's easy to be intentional on the field or court, focused, driven, and entirely present, because our love is in the sport and the competition that comes with it. Our artists have learned how to be intentional with every single mark on their different media, because they think deeply about how to best express themselves. During heartfelt discussions on topics we truly care about, the words we choose are full of passion and purpose. When the spotlight is on, our actors are intentional with even their slightest movement. And of course, undeniably, the way we nurture and cherish our relationships with loved ones and those that are here under this tent today is deeply intentional. We've learned that love breeds intention. Intention is not just about pushing harder, but also paying attention to what makes us feel alive, what we love, and letting that feeling guide us. Pursue that spark, because even a flicker of heartfelt intention directed towards someone or something that you love, however brief, yields far more than indifference ever could. So as we step into the next phase of our lives, we have the chance to find and foster intention once again. Let's approach the new, and even the uncomfortable, with a curiosity and willingness to learn what we might love. When we lean into experiences this way, with our full heart, intention flows more readily, often bringing joy in its wake. So to my fellow classmates, may we always be brave enough to find what we love, and in doing so, may we learn how not to have heart life, but to live with intention, passion, and our whole hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We are now going to acknowledge students graduating today with diploma distinctions in a number of areas. I am going to read the students' names, and they are going to rise. You will notice that their diploma distinction status is marked by a gold cord that they wear around their necks. So I will begin with the Certificate of Distinction in Art and Design. The Certificate of Distinction in Art and Design is awarded to those students who have fulfilled the requirements that include rigorous coursework, club activity, and the participation in the Senior Art Show and Colloquium, as well as submission of an AP Art and Design portfolio. This year's recipients are Sophia Ramos Acosta, Ava Angelov, Kyoja Duff, Sydney Halbin, Lila Perkins, Morgan Powell, Elise Prather, Caroline Resnick, Dermot Robinson, and Olivia Rodriguez. Thank you. You may be seated. The Certificate of Distinction in Global Studies is awarded to those students who have successfully completed a rigorous program of study in global studies over the course of their high school career. This year's recipients are Japal Dohill, Charlotte Frank, Felicity Gowdy, Charles Iverson, William Puffco, Matthew Rivera, Catherine Rui, and Jack Solomon. Thank you. You may be seated. The Certificate of Distinction in Leadership is awarded to students who successfully complete a rigorous program of study in leadership theory and practice. In addition, these students have taken on numerous leadership roles, community leadership projects, and the completion of a capstone project. This year's recipients are Tate Anderson, Abigail Block, William Glassmeyer, Abigail Kuffel, and Sophia Roy. Thank you. The Certificate of Performing Arts is awarded to students who have successfully completed a program in the performing arts that includes comprehensive coursework, active participation in multiple productions and community concerts, and the completion of a capstone project. This year's recipients are Grace Anderson, Adam Flynn, Isabella Kohlenberg, Zach Luizos, George McCormack, Madeline Scanlon, and Maria Sharavarnik. Thank you. And finally, the Certificate of Distinction in STEM is awarded to those students who have fulfilled the requirements that include rigorous coursework, club activity, and the completion of a capstone project and a research project. This year's recipients are Anya Anderson, Taylor Ansel, Duncan Baird, Parker Hayashi, Madeline Prather, Annalise Salib, Madeline Scanlon, Ethan Schamberg, and Alexander Zakin. Congratulations to all of our distinction candidates, and achievers today. Thank you. You may be seated.
It is with great pleasure and pride that I introduce our commencement speaker for this year's ceremony, Dr. William Shapiro, a graduate of King Haywood Thomas from the class of 2006. William Shapiro, or Will, as many of his teachers fondly remember him, embodies the spirit of excellence and service that we strive to instill in all of our students. A proud alumnus, Will joins us today as an assistant professor of health policy and economics at the Weill Medical College of Cornell University. From his early days here at King, Will demonstrated an insatiable curiosity and a commitment to making a difference in the world. His journey began here, where he not only excelled academically, but also immersed himself in numerous extracurricular activities that showcased his leadership and passion for learning. Will was and is a well-rounded Viking. While at school with us, he earned several recognitions, including the Outstanding Citizens Award, the Coaches Award as a varsity athlete, and he was inducted into the Cum Laude Society. In the words of his advisor, Christos Galanopoulos, Mr. G, Will took the Standard, the school's newspaper, to its greatest heights ever. He did the same as the president of the Model UN Club. As a tour guide for what was then called Key Club, now known as King Ambassadors, he was simply outstanding. Mr. G added that Will was among the most respected student members of our school community. The weight he carries around the school gives him an aura of heavy seriousness, but he flavors it with a wonderful sense of humor, he added. In Mr. G's final comments on Will's senior year, he said, "It's very difficult to write this letter. Not for lack of words, and words are always lacking in such cases, but for the weight that it carries as a final reflection of 4 years that I spent working with one of the very best students of my career, if not the best." Victoria Kisnyshenko, Dr. K, chair of the mathematics department, recalls Will's dedication to his academic pursuits. In her words, Will's thirst for knowledge and commitment to excellence set him apart as a scholar and leader. Throughout his professional journey, Will's achievements have been nothing short of remarkable. Perhaps what makes Will the ideal speaker for this year's commencement is not just his professional accomplishments, but his unwavering commitment to advancing equality in healthcare, a passion that was ignited during his formative years here at KLHT. Will's research has appeared in a number of academic journals, including the New England Journal of Medicine, the Journal of the American Medicine Association, and Health Affairs. And he's been featured on Bloomberg, CNBC, Politico, and the Washington Post. Will earned an undergraduate degree in biology and government and a graduate degree in health policy from Dartmouth College before going to Yale University, where he earned a doctorate degree in health policy and economics. As we send forth the class of 2025 into the world, Will's insights and experiences will serve as a guiding light, inspiring each graduate to pursue their dreams with purpose and integrity. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. William Shapiro back to King School as he shares his wisdom and inspiration with us.
Good evening. I'm truly honored to be here. I can't believe it. Almost 20 years after my own graduation from King, when I sat on this stage just over there, and am so honored to contribute to this celebration of all you all have achieved over the last 4+ years. I stand before you today as the fatigued father of a toddler. My wonderful son, Jack, who's sitting right there, is about to turn 3. So to the families here today who have put in an additional 15 years of support and sacrifice and laundry on top of my 3, I see you and I'm in awe. So you are deserving of the first round of applause from this address. Commencement addresses, I've realized, are often kind of like airport bookstores, full of glossy, well-intentioned advice that sounds deep, but frequently turns out to be recycled, overly confident, and slightly misleading. You know the books I'm talking about. They have titles like, hopefully the authors aren't in this room, but titles like The 10-Step Morning Routine That Will Change Your Life and Want to Succeed, Just Try a Little Bit Harder. The problem is that most of these are written by people who succeeded and then worked backward to explain why. And I worry commencement speeches sometimes do the same thing. So before I offer you any advice, I feel compelled as a card-carrying economist to issue a methodological warning. You probably shouldn't listen to me. It's not that I'm not invested in offering good advice. I really am, but because most attempts to attribute success to specific actions or decisions are inherently flawed. It's what we in economics call survival bias, the tendency to look only at those who made it and assume that their choices explain their success, when in fact we're missing all the people who made similar choices and didn't end up giving a speech like this wearing funny-looking robes. The truth is, it's entirely possible that some of the choices I made in life didn't cause my success at all. They were just along for the ride. So if I tell you that working late, taking risks, or having Lucky Charms cereal for breakfast every day made me where I am today, I had a lot, you should be skeptical, and perhaps particularly when it comes to the cereal. So rather than try to tell you to repeat what I did, what I think led to my success, which may or may not have been causal, I want to do something that I think is more useful. Share 3 things I wish I had known earlier. Simple as that. Not a polished roadmap, but honest reflections that reflect my best effort to provide some guidance while avoiding the survival bias of the airport bookstore. I also come to you with deep humility. I think many of you, wise beyond your years, have likely already come to these conclusions on your own. Okay, let's dive in. The first thing I wish I'd known earlier, uncertainty is a feature, not a bug. This is more than saying you don't have to have things figured out or embrace uncertainty when it heads your way. It's really run towards uncertainty. Every time you think you're sure about your path in life, question it. I loved AP Biology at King and really wanted a career where I could have deep, positive impact. So junior year of high school, I basically decided then and there that this meant I should be a physician. I spent the summer after graduating from King working in a cancer immunology lab at Yale, pipetting carcinogens onto the backs of mice. In fact, I spent each of the next 3 summers or so working in cancer labs. I found the science interesting and the work impactful, but I ultimately pursued this work not because it was my passion, but because it was what I thought you needed to do to get into medical school. Just as an aside, for those of you considering medicine as someone now at a medical school on the faculty, I can tell you that assumption is wrong, so keep that in mind, but I digress. I think many of us tend to fall into 2 traps that are evident here. First, we often satisfice when it comes to making decisions about a career. That is, once we're exposed to an option that exceeds a certain threshold in terms of capturing our interest or aligning with our skills, we tend to go with it without considering or exploring alternatives. Second, we often fall prey to another economic concept, forgive me, and that's the sunk cost fallacy. The idea that we are more likely to continue down a path once we have invested in it. I had invested so much in becoming a physician, spending months in a wet lab, becoming an EMT, volunteering in the emergency department, that it seemed like doing anything else was throwing all that away, even if doing so would ultimately be more beneficial for me. I certainly explored other interests outside of medicine in college. I majored in biology and government. I edited the Student Science Journal and the student newspaper. But I never truly or concretely considered an alternative career path. As a result, when I began to doubt my decision to pursue medicine senior year, it was scary. I had no sense of the relevant alternatives. I was lucky to ultimately find my way, thanks to some very caring mentors, but I think I could have expedited that process and gotten more out of my college experience if I had been less mind-numbingly certain about medicine from the get-go. What would that have looked like for me? Perhaps I still would have worked in a cancer lab at Yale that first summer, but I also would have interned at a newspaper spent a semester at a DC think tank, and possibly worked as a paralegal for a year. I would have had a better sense of what options outside of medicine resonated, and it would have made the decision to turn away from medicine easier, less scary. Today, I generally advise mentees not to go straight to graduate school from undergrad. I think we've all become quite careerist, fearing that we must strictly adhere to a particular set of activities to enter a chosen profession. And any deviation puts us at a competitive disadvantage. Today, I want to emphatically say that's just not true. It's perhaps obvious, but one thing I've realized is that a diverse set of experiences makes you more impactful once you choose to specialize, not less. In many ways, I think I am a stronger economist today because of my early exposure to medicine, significantly more so than if I devoted myself strictly to economics as a discipline early on in my career. Okay, the second thing I wish I'd known earlier, seek out intellectual discomfort. In other words, embrace opportunities to be in settings where you are far from the smartest person in the room. I have 4 or so colleagues with whom I actively collaborate in most of my work. Each of them is a better researcher than me along some dimension. One is a better writer, another is a better statistician, the third is a better manager, and the fourth is simply just better at getting stuff done. I learn something from each of them every day, and they collectively make me better at my job, and by extension, make my work more impactful. What does this mean in practice for all of you, at least in the short run? I have to be honest, get some bad grades. It's hard to imagine, but grades don't matter quite as much going forward as they have to date. Take a class that's truly scary in its difficulty. You'll get more out of a class where you worked your butt off for a B- than a class where you coasted for an A. Embrace intellectual humility. But by saying you should seek out intellectual discomfort, I also mean something else. Seek out spaces where your ideas feel outnumbered. As the former Harvard president, Drew Gilpin-Faust, said in her own commencement address just a few years ago, "We pursue truth unrelentingly, but we must never be so complacent as to believe we have unerringly attained it. We assume there is always more to know and to discover, so we open ourselves to challenge and change. Truth cannot simply be claimed, but must be established through reasoned argument, assessment, and even sometimes uncomfortable challenges." In other words, learning and growth require that your ideas be challenged, even if you and everyone you know think those ideas are right. The third and last thing I wish I had known earlier, but perhaps the most important, achievement is not fulfillment. It's easy to get into the trap of always working for the next thing, the next degree, the next accolade, the next promotion, and assuming that once you hit some threshold, you will feel fulfilled. This, at least, was very much my thinking for a long time. If I can only get my doctorate, if I can only get a tenure-track faculty position, if I can only get out one more research paper, then I will feel fulfilled. I will feel complete. I have to let you in on a little secret. There will always be one more thing that you can do. Fulfillment has to come from elsewhere. For me, professionally, fulfillment has come less from my own work and more from mentorship of others. I now get way more gratification when a mentee's paper is accepted at a top-tier journal than I do when it happens for one of my own. Investing in others, whether my students or my family, has been significantly more fulfilling than investing in myself. As Maya Angelou wrote quite famously, "People will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." More broadly, fulfillment for me has come from what the historian Rutger Bregman has called moral ambition, combining ambition with purpose, with a desire for impact. At times in my career, that has meant doing work that I believe will improve access to healthcare for entire populations. But in my conception of moral ambition, this doesn't have to be impact globally or nationally. It's really not about measuring success by how many people you impact. It's simply about having a positive impact on others. Most of the time for me, that, again, has meant investing in my students and my family. Ultimately, I haven't offered you the tidy blueprint of a best-selling airport book. I haven't told you to do what I did because there is no way for me to know what I did that really mattered. That would mean falling prey to this survival bias. Instead, I've tried to share a few things I wish I had known, ideas that might help you navigate the waters ahead with just a little more confidence. As you all move forward, King Class of 2025, I hope you seek out questions more than answers, discomfort more than ease, and truth more than certainty. Heartiest of congratulations to you, the Class of 2025.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce this year's senior speaker, a student whose King School journey has been marked by intellectual curiosity, deep connections to people and ideas, true Viking pride, strength of character, and an unwavering commitment to our community. Alex Zakin represents the very best of King. As a standout scholar, he has received multiple honors, recognitions during his time at King. He was inducted into the Cum Laude Society this spring, a testament to his academic excellence and love of learning. But his impact reaches far beyond the classroom. In the words of David Volane, his college counselor, Alex likes meeting people, hearing their stories, and values relationships. He views every interaction as an opportunity to learn something from someone, whether it is a start of a new friendship or a passing interaction. Mr. Volane shared that Alex once said to him, "I'd rather spend my whole day talking to strangers than spend it in silence." It made me wonder what it's like in your household. Just saying. On the field, Alex has been a force to be reckoned with. As captain of the varsity football team, he has led with both heart and grit. His determination and leadership helped secure key victories, including a homecoming game touchdown that brought the crowd to its feet. And yet, it is perhaps Alex's voice that resonates most powerfully. Whether speaking in a public forum on the housing crisis, delivering a King talk about the importance of civil discourse, trust, and understanding in government, in conversation with peers and teachers, or delivering deeply heartfelt and moving remarks about Mr. Boas at his memorial service, he demonstrates thoughtfulness, conviction, and a deep sense of responsibility to others. Alex answered the call to leadership in meaningful ways. As a mentor in our middle school's Fellowship Friday program, he inspired younger Vikings with energy, insight, and authenticity. He did the same as part of the Clinker Buddy program, an initiative that pairs upper and lower school students to foster cross-divisional supportive relationships. Something that's been fun to witness is the joyful way he relates to his own sister and brother. Watching Alex drop off Spencer at the lower school is always a treat. In the words of his advisor, Melissa Kennedy, he's someone that can always be counted on as a true model King student. Alex is passionate about his work with the Jewish Affinity Group and about building understanding. He has shown us that excellence is not a singular pursuit, but a balance of mind, body, and character. Alex will bring these amazing qualities to Vanderbilt University in the fall, where he will be pursuing a degree in political science. As Alex prepares for life after King, said college counselor David Volane, "I know that he will be a force for good on his college campus and in the surrounding community." Today, it is only fitting that we hear from someone who not only has so fully embraced what it means to be a King Viking, but was, in fact, the King Viking. Please join me in welcoming your 2025 senior speaker, Alex Zakin.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Ms. Miles just said, my name is Alex Zakin, and I'm honored to be this year's senior speaker. When I first sat down to write this speech, I quickly learned that the hardest part would be finding the right words to describe our class. I asked friends, teachers, and really anyone who would listen, how do you sum us up? What words actually capture who we are. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized you can't. You really can't reduce this class to a few neat adjectives. And honestly, I think that's a beautiful thing. We're a class made up of standout athletes, many of whom will continue their sport in college. We have actors headed to top-tier drama programs, scientists diving into real-world issues, and artists, leaders, and thinkers who are just getting started. Trying to wrap all that up into a single phrase wouldn't do it justice. It would simply shrink something that deserves to be celebrated in full. So instead of trying to reduce our grade into a few surface-level descriptors, I decided to look a little deeper, not at what we are on paper, but at what we've gone through together and how that shaped us. While searching for inspiration for this speech, I came across a poem written by our beloved Mr. Boaz titled Gratitude Restored. The first 5 lines read, "We have emerged, and we are not the same, for we have tasted the bitter root of real and pain and lack." King has always been a place that fostered connection and understanding, and that spirit has definitely lived within our grade. But in a group as ambitious, passionate, and driven as ours, it's only natural that tensions would sometimes arise and opinions would clash. Still, what we all have in common, what connects every single person sitting here, is that we've tasted that bitter root in one form or another. Whether it was getting a grade that shook your confidence, falling short of a role you poured your heart into, or failing to make the varsity team you dreamed of playing for, we've all felt disappointment here. We've all stumbled, but we didn't stay down. We grew, we came back stronger, and we carry those experiences with us, not as regrets, but as reminders of how much we've already overcome. Beyond the natural challenges that come with being a part of a class full of overachievers, there's one hardship that has reshaped us more than anything else: the loss of Mr. Boaz. For those of us who knew him well, he was a constant light, a passionate teacher, a fiercely loyal King sports fan, and someone who made every student feel seen. His presence brought warmth, humor, and perspective into all of our lives. In the days and weeks after he passed, grief hung in the air. You could feel it in the halls, in our classrooms, in the silence. And even now, many of us still carry that sadness, knowing he's not here to see us today. But whether you knew him deeply or only in passing, his death was a profound reminder of life's fragility. That someone can be wishing you a good spring break one day and be gone the next. For many of us, that was the first time we truly understood what loss felt like. To echo Mr. Boaz's poem, we have all tasted the bitter root of pain. But even in the face of that pain, we didn't fall apart. We held on to each other. And in doing so, we became stronger, more grounded, and more connected. It's important to acknowledge that this growth didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened at a time when we needed it most. At the time of his passing, we were in junior year, undoubtedly the most pressure-filled chapter of our high school story. A year defined by test scores, college stress, and a sense of isolation as everyone focused on their own paths. We were all so consumed by what came next that we rarely stopped to appreciate what we had. But his loss interrupted all of that. It reminded us, in the very most painful way, to look up and to hold on to the people around us while we still had the chance. And yet, even with this perspective, the loss still didn't make sense. For a long time, I struggled, like I'm sure many of you did, to find any silver lining in his death. It felt senseless, and the grief sat with us for a while. But recently, at a get-together at Dahlia Barrett's house, something shifted for me. That night, I looked around, and I saw something I hadn't ever fully noticed before. Nearly everybody in our grade, laughing, talking, simply enjoying being together. People who don't usually hang out outside of school were conversing like old friends. There was this joy, this easy, genuine joy that filled the backyard. And in the middle of all that beautiful chaos, it hit me. Somewhere between the moment we lost Mr. Boaz and that night, our grade had become something more than just a group of classmates. We had become a family. Not in the sense that we're all best friends or that we spend every weekend together, but in the way that really matters. We've come to know each other, to accept each other, and to care for one another despite our differences. Supporting each other through the hardest moments gave us the trust and closeness to truly enjoy the best ones together. That night didn't erase the loss, but it reframed it. It reminded me that gratitude isn't about perfection. It's about noticing what's still here and holding on to it while you can. Finally, as we step into this next chapter of our lives, I would like to share the closing lines of Mr. Boaz's poem. They serve as a reminder of the lessons we've learned, the joy we've found, and the bonds we've built. My hope is that you carry all of that with you, not just today, but for the rest of your lives. As the laptops open once again, and mathematics and science give order to the rhythm of the day, as history teaches lessons, and Shakespeare's I ams bounce like drum beats through our heads, let us rejoice in who and what we have, and raise ourselves, hearts pumping, with needful joy. Let us revel deep in joys we once ignored. Let us hold each other close, our gratitude restored. Thank you for being the people who've restored my gratitude. I'll carry that with me for the rest of my life.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Kieran. Definitely so much fun to hear your words and your wisdom. At this time, we're going to confer diplomas. Woo! This time, when we call names, do not hold your applause. Feel free to clap and cheer for every single graduate.
Sofia Acosta Ramos. Adelaide Altoff. Anya Elizabeth Anderson. Grace Ann Anderson. Tate Anderson. Ava Anastasia Angelov. Taylor Rose Ansel. Olivia Asness. Duncan Baird. Dahlia Barrett. Owen Blaine. Abigail Bly. Abigail Block. Connor Scott Brown. Logan James Bruno. Cole Kayati. Brandon Chan. Thomas Philip Panther Klein. Brian Jordan Condon. Charles August Cook. Hugh Laws Curran. Chapal Dohill. Ayana Lucy DeRest. Kioja Nkrumah Duff. Caroline Julianne Ellis. Alexander Esposito. Campbell Scott Essex. Alexis Feldman. Adam Patrick Flynn. Charlotte Brooke Frank. Gavin Vincent Garrison. William John Glassmeyer. Christian Daniel Gonzalez. Felicity Gowdy. Ellie Bell Grabowski. Jaden Chase Grayson. Jacob Logan Greenberger. Tristan Gregor. Lily J. Hamlin. Dominic Ulrich Wilhelm Hartmann. Sydney Kathleen Hauben. Parker Daisuke Hayashi. Christopher Ippolito. Charles Paulo Iverson. Thomas Jennings. Elizabeth Jane Johnson. Griffin Jew. Isabella Marie Kohlenberg. Ashlyn Coons. Abigail Cuffle. Devin Ruth Lennis. Lila Grace Leibowitz. Dean Liner. Zach Luizos. Peter Lovett. Olivia Elisa Mangold. Genevieve Lynn Mansfield. Charles Alexander Matson. George Michael McCormack. Tanner Chase McHugh. Tim McGrath. Liam Daniel McGuire. Doni Marie Middleton. Harrison Ross Merkin. Rafael Montero. Jakari Leon Morgan. Connor James Neary. Maggie McNeil O'Callahan. Paige Ohapi. William Peacock. Lila Grace Perkins. Catherine Elizabeth Pursley. Morgan Joyce Powell. Elise Catherine Prather. Madeline Jane Prather. Claire Mairead Pritchard. William Puffco Jr. Alexander Ramos. Caroline Resnick. Matthew Rivera. Dermot Miraz Robinson. Olivia Altagracia Rodriguez. Alexandra Claire Rostazzi. Sophia Eve Roy. Katie Rui. Annalise Grace Salib. Madeline Winifred Scanlon. Ethan Craig Schamberg. Maria Sharavarnik. Dylan Solomon. Jack Solomon. Adam Miguel Spielvogel. Ryan Michael Robert Staggs. Ryan John Sullivan. Alexander Henry Zakin. And Kieran Rao.
Do a little blessing. Blessings on your journeys, class of 2025, and congratulations. As you go on your way, may the great and wondrous mystery go with you, in front of you to guide you, behind you to support you, beside you to befriend you, above you to watch over you, and within you to give you peace. Amen.
Thank you. Graduates, please stand. The moment has arrived. On the count of 3, move your tassels from right to left. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, class of 2025. Congratulations, class of 2025.
Thank you.